On today's show, the Anthony Davis trade market is not dead. Might not be the exact package you want, but it's not dead. And more rumors. The Mavs are open for business. Today's Locked On Mavs.
This is Cooper Flagg, and you're listening to Locked On Mavs.
I think that's a good question.
Good morning, Isaac. All these changes, I still got my dog, Dwight Powell.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave.
Your team every day.
I'm going to get a city like that.
And welcome. You're locked on to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Mavs for over 10 years. Thanks for being here every day, or making Locked On Mavs your first listen each and every day, and making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network out there. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Joining me, as always, co-host, media member covering the Mavs for over 10 years, right alongside me, the rumor reject, the one more thinking. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
I'm just recovering. Everybody just left the house. I got some dishes I got to clean up. Just the party for the cup tonight was it was huge. It was
You did
cool.
cup themed foods, Reese's cups.
I did the red court. We went with like some red appetizers for that second one, and honestly, the best game of the night was the BYU game. AJ DeBonsa.
Were you watching that for a reason? Or?
All jokes aside, I had an event at church, and but in my office I have a TV, and I had the BYU game on over the cup games, and I was watching AJ DeBonsa fourth quarter, Madison Square Garden. Special stuff.
Absolutely wild. So, all right, today's episode, we're going to talk about Shams Charania's report about all the Mavericks rumors. There's all kinds of rumors and things floating around. We'll talk about the Anthony Davis trade suitors. We'll talk about the Mavs have not ruled out the possibility of an extension for Anthony Davis. Oh boy, the Mavs don't know who their GM is right now, except for the two interim guys that are sharing the job. All kinds of things from this report. But let's start here, Isaac Harris. One of the fears from Mavs fans in all this Anthony Davis talk is, one, that they'll trade him. There are several Mavs fans, especially those in our Discord. If you want to join our Discord, join the Everydayers Club or the subtext text line group. Links in the description. That are concerned that, all right, if they do end up trading Anthony Davis, they're just going to get nothing back. The trade market is just dead. You'll either have to try to trade assets to get off of him, or you'll have to just take back just expirings, or you'll get nothing of value back. And we may not get exactly what you want out of a deal. It's not going to look pretty if you do that means Luka Doncic got traded for Max Christie, a 2029 Lakers pick, and then whatever you get for Anthony Davis. It's not going to look pretty in that way when you try to aggregate it like that. But in this report from Shams Charania, the Mavericks are, expected to be, Anthony Davis is expected to be a critical target of several teams, including many of East contenders. The Pistons, the Hawks, and the Raptors are expected to be suitors for Anthony Davis. Those are all teams that are vying for a spot in the Eastern Conference. The East is wide open, and these teams are looking to say, all right, how do we get an edge over some of these teams? Because we can win this. The Cavs aren't as good as we expect. The Knicks, honestly, haven't been as good as we expected, except for their massive cup win tonight that is huge for them going forward. I mean, it's just big for them to win a cup game.
Hang the banner.
Hang the banner for a cup game. But there are teams vying for Anthony Davis, at least according to this report, and that there is a market for him. If the Mavs do end up going that direction, they still may not, but if they do go that direction and trade Anthony Davis, there is a market for it, and I think that's something that's positive.
Yeah, Shams, I actually went because I saw somebody share what Shams said that what the return package will look like. And so I went and looked at a hit he did on SportsCenter, and he said that you're looking at a package coming back for AD centered around role players or expiring contracts with picks. And so, what you expected. So basically, you're not looking at a star that's coming back. This is the value you're looking at right now with AD. And, I do think we're going to see some of these Eastern teams, especially once the dust settles with the Giannis stuff, because you look at a team like Atlanta's probably going to want, or even Chicago, they're going to probably want to make a run, as much of a run as possible at a Giannis trade. So if like an Atlanta doesn't get involved with the Giannis and they can't do that, then they might turn their sights to Anthony Davis. And with the East being so wide open, I think that's where you will see. I mean, you look at those three teams, with the exception of Detroit, you look at Raptors and Atlanta. I mean, they're looking at it and there's like, all right, like I mean, Toronto's better than Atlanta right now, but hey, we're pretty good this year. But if we add Anthony Davis and keep the other guys on our team that's making us a winning team right now intact, like that could put us at the top. And so I think that will surprise some people because, the Anthony Davis discourse, especially with Mavs fans, is like, there's a portion like you'll never be able to trade him. No one wants him. And there's, another side. It's like, well, you don't trade him unless you can get X, Y, and Z and the real Luka package. And I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think you're going to have multiple teams that are going to be more than interested, but you're not going to get a star player back.
No, you're not. You may get like the version of like Marc Gasol coming back, where a player turns into a star eventually, but you're not going to get one that's like a star right up front. It is interesting,
I do think that they do trade Anthony Davis. I think that will happen.
It definitely seems like that's the direction that they're going with all these rumors that they came out. They could keep him and see what happens. They did float in this piece that the Mavs have not ruled out the possibility of an extension, which to me is like, all right, we got to stay on both sides. You got to, big wink on that one. Like, all right, we got to say, hey, we may sign him to this extension, but that's the thing if you keep him. And that's why I think that you may be right that they'll trade him, because if you keep him, then you have to extend him. And if you extend him, he's eligible for extension August 6th to sign up to a 4-year, $275 million max extension. They'll pay him $76 million in his age 37 season. And that's the year, I believe, that Cooper Flagg signs his max extension off his rookie deal. And so that is not something you want. A 37-year-old Anthony Davis making $76 million. Who knows what like health condition he's in at that point. And Cooper Flagg right in the middle, like right at the beginning of his prime.
That's the thing I don't think is getting talked about enough with the Anthony Davis discourse right now is that looming extension. And I thought it was pretty telling from Shams' report today of it wasn't about when he was talking about Rich Paul meets with the Mavs to talk about Anthony Davis. It wasn't about to see if they're going to go for it this season. It was, he wants clarity on if he's going to get an extension or if they're going to trade him. Those are the two things. And, I'll be curious how much the extension stuff drives, the clutch angle of where his next team will be, if it's in Dallas or elsewhere.
That'll drive everything, because if he's going to get it or not, that decides if they decide that they want to sit out and force some kind of a trade and do it.
I would say if Dallas
Jimmy Butler move.
Yeah, if Dallas tells Rich Paul right now, we're not giving him an extension, is it the other way then? Is it Rich Paul and them saying, okay, well, help me find my client a new home, because help me get my client to, let's just say, Detroit, because we know in Detroit, he's going to play with Cade Cunningham, be in the playoffs, hopefully make a deep playoff run, play the 4 next to Duren, and hopefully show everybody, holy crap, and show Detroit, well, dang, we want to give him, a good amount of money, and let's do this things with our young guys for the next 3 to 4 years. So, it could, we'll see what happens with that.
Were you surprised that Chicago wasn't listed in this group?
A little bit. There's been so much smoke around Chicago. But I was a little bit surprised. I'm more surprised by Detroit being in it than I am Chicago being out. Just because Detroit's number 1 right now in the East. They just look really good. They're young. Yes. There is an angle of it too, where you see of Detroit saying, hey, the East is wide open. We're good, but are we that good? Anthony Davis could make us that good. And so you could see them talking themselves into it. And I think they have trade packages that would satisfy what Dallas is looking for, while also them being a win now team of you're trading for Anthony Davis to go for it type of thing. So when you look at a team like Detroit, and they have a coach like JB Bickerstaff, who's well known around the league with players and everything, he gets to play the 4, the position he wants to play with Duren. If they get to keep Isaiah Stewart in a deal like that, he could play alongside Isaiah Stewart, another big. So you kind of get to satisfy both sides of that. And for Dallas' side, I'm going into trade stuff, but for Dallas' side of it, you'd get a big expiring contract, so you clear up some money this offseason with Tobias Harris. then it's like a combination of stuff. Is it Duncan Robinson or Karis LeVert? They probably want to keep at least one of those guys because they need shooting on that team. Duncan starts for them a lot. So I just assumed Karis LeVert would be in the deal for money stuff. And then if Jaden Ivey's in the deal, then that's your flyer. It's an expiring contract, but then that's your young flyer there from Dallas's angle. 23 years old still. You get to play out the rest of the season. And yeah, is that your Steph Curry type of deal to where, you sign him to a smaller extension and you give him like a smaller contract, and then he comes back and he's like really outplays that as a young guy, and you get a pick or two in that deal too. So I could just see both sides being happy in a deal like that. So I get that. It's just, if you're Detroit, why would you want to shake it up right now?
I'll tell you why they might want to shake it up right now. Talk about that and the other suitors for Anthony Davis coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Mint Mobile. There's no reason to let big wireless drain your wallet, especially during the holidays. Right now, Mint Mobile is running their best deal of the year. All their unlimited plans are 50% off. That means you can lock in 3, 6, or even 12 months of unlimited premium wireless for just $15 a month. It's the easiest way to take your overpriced phone and give it the full Scrooge treatment. Watched Muppet Christmas Carol tonight. Scrooge. Giving everybody the treatment. That's what makes this even better. It is now simple to make the switch to Mint. No contracts, no nonsense, just real savings and real quality service. You can do all kinds of things without any issue. You can bring your own phone number and your own phone without any issued setup. Takes only a few minutes. Service is fast and reliable, even on the go. Turn your expensive wireless present into a huge wireless savings future by switching to Mint. Shop Mint Unlimited plans at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. Limited time offer, upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months. Plan required, $15 a month equivalent. Taxes and fees, initial plan term only. Over 35 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage vary. See mintmobile.com.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad. That's what we call our listeners, listening every single day. If you want to be part of the Raccoon Squad, join the text line. You can check the link in the description. You'll actually get an invite to our Discord. And join the Everydayers Club. You get ad-free audio episodes of Locked On Mavs, plus access to the Discord as well, which is pretty awesome. We had a ton of people join today. It's the first day we decided to open it up. But you can only get access to it if you're part of the text line or if you're part of the Everydayers for right now. And so join that up. A lot of people talking about trades, talking about the rumors that were dropping today. It was a lot of fun in there. People going back and forth. And so join those two. Links in the description, or check the QR code for different ways to join either of those groups, or both. You can do both too. All right, we're talking about Shams Charania's piece on ESPN about all these Mavs rumors. The Mavs were the big topic of it. Anthony Davis trades, talking about Mavs are open to exploring trade market for Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford, Klay Thompson, D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Davis. They're expected to be a critical trade target of several different teams, including the Pistons, Hawks, and Raptors. And you posed the question, why would the Pistons want to shake it up? There are teams in the East right now that see that this is wide open. Pistons being one of them. The Magic did this with Desmond Bane. I think that they saw that it was open. Even
good point. Yeah.
Even like the Sixers looked at it and say, hey, this is kind of open. The Hawks are looking at it right now. And there's only so many stars that can become available in a season. Everybody seems pretty content with the stars that they have. Who are the ones available right now? It's potentially Giannis. It's Anthony Davis. And then who else? The Ja Morant, LaMelo Ball, Zion Williamson, Trae Young, that quadrant of whatever you want to do with that circle. Maybe everybody just plays musical chairs and switches seats. Maybe like a Harden for the Clippers potentially. None of the guys in Sacramento are stars anymore, but maybe them. There's just not that many stars available right now, and so you kind of have to get the hand that was dealt to you when it comes to going to get a star. And right now, Anthony Davis is a hand that's out there. That's a card that can be played by one of these teams. It's all right, we want to take a step forward. Now is our chance. We have to take advantage of the players that are available, and Anthony Davis is the one, maybe. Yeah, no,
I mean, I could see it for sure. I mean, if you're Detroit, you're looking at it, you're like, hey, stars win in the playoffs. You got to have the stars, to do this. And we could pair Anthony Davis with Cade Cunningham and still have Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson and possibly Isaiah Stewart and Ron Holland and a shooter and Duncan Robinson.
Wild.
You can keep all of that probably. There's a scenario too that you could keep Jaden Ivey in that, and then instead put like Isaiah Stewart and Ron Holland in the deal with Tobias Harris. I love Ron Holland. If they could get Ron Holland in that deal, that'd be great. Love him as like a role player, not like he's not going to be like a star, but there's just ways I think that they could do it. And so I could see why they would do something like that. And they own all their picks too.
Right.
So, they can have fun with some picks coming back to Dallas.
They can make a package. Jaden Ivey is an interesting one to me. I've talked to Q of Locked On Pistons about him, and I don't know that he's the one. I don't know that he's one that I would be interested in just hearing him talk about him. He missed 15 games to start the season, missed 52 games last year, so I'm watching him in terms of like playing games. But if the Mavs are taking a flyer on somebody, I mean, might as well try it, right, and see what you got.
Well, that's why he didn't get his extension, right? Like we've talked about these rookies that don't get their extension. He broke his fibula in January. So that took him out for the rest of the season. I mean, it's a nasty injury, breaking your fibula. And then the one that's a little like, is, then in October, he had like knee discomfort in his other leg. So he had this like there's no minor knee surgery, minor knee procedure in October that, sidelined him there.
Surgery and a procedure. Procedure is actually a minor version of a surgery. But I do want to clarify.
I'm not a doctor, so I don't know.
It's been too long since I played that.
So anyway, that's why, you didn't see some big extension number, landed on for him.
And so now he's a restricted free agent this offseason. So the Mavs would really take a flyer where you're like, all right, do we want this guy in any kind of deal or not? And so that's something you have to figure out. The other teams in this where the Atlanta Hawks have been mentioned a couple times where they have a chance to really take a step forward. Trey's been out, 20 games this season, and they've played really well. Jalen Johnson has taken this big step forward and is basically a star. He's putting up insane numbers for them right now. I could get one trade to work, and I'm curious what you think about this.
Okay.
I don't think they would do it, but it's the one that I could make money-wise work. Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, and Caleb Martin go to Atlanta.
Okay.
Trae Young, Porzingis, bizarre trade, and Asa Newell come back to the Mavericks.
That's massive.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of pieces going, but money-wise, when you're talking about this big a deal, the difference between Anthony Davis and Trae Young is like $9 million. And that is just such a weird number to try and make work because, all right, you add Luke Kennard, that's $11 million. Okay. Now you have to add $2 million on the Maverick side because the Hawks are up against, I think either the first apron or something like it's so strange to try and like make a trade like this work, but that's the one that I could make work in the.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff with Atlanta money. There's some scenarios in which I think they could take back more money than what they can send out. They have some like space and stuff with that. I think it'd probably be a little. You gonna say something?
I think they're $13 million under the first apron is what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, so like a deal that works financially, at least on Fanspo, it does. Once again, this isn't a sexy trade for Dallas, but when you're looking at even what Shams said about expiring contracts and picks and stuff, like it could be Porzingis, Luke Kennard, Asa Newell, and a pick or two.
Oof.
And it's
they keep Trae Young.
Yeah, and they keep Trae in that scenario,
Young,
but you're getting back $40 million in expiring contracts with KP and Kennard. You could even look to flip KP if you wanted to like an a contender. Those are two other shooters though. I would honestly probably keep Porzingis and just like, hey, a stretch 5 next to Cooper. Let's see what it looks like, right? Like we don't have that on the roster.
The weird thing about KP is like how bizarre would that be to bring him back? But this organization is 100% different since he was.
I was
here.
to say it's all
I mean, Nico traded him, but now Nico's gone. It's like, that's completely different.
But it would be cool to get Asa Newell in that deal. We're talking about Cooper Flagg, teammate at Montverde. When you look at there was 4 teammates there that he talks about a lot that he played with the most. It was or the other 3 besides Cooper, Derek Queen, Asa Newell, and Liam McNeely in Charlotte. And so to get Newell back would be probably kind of fun for him. And they have picks too. So that's one scenario, and I could see it for Dallas clearing up the cap space, get a young first round pick in Newell, and get let's just say a couple picks, And for Atlanta, he gets played alongside another big and a Kongwu. They keep Trey. They keep all of their wings at that point. They could be pretty dang scary defensively too. There's obviously another scenario with Atlanta of you bring in a third team and it's centered around Trey, and Trey goes to another team. You know, you get some other things there, and AD goes to Atlanta and figure out some things that come back from Dallas at that point. I don't know how Dallas would view Trae Young.
I was going to say, do we want Trae Young?
I would say no, because I don't think they're going to do anything with Kyrie for the foreseeable future. So I would say no.
Well, the thing about Trae Young too is he's 45, almost $46 million this year, and then a $49 million player option where you're like, all right, now all of a sudden his future is up there. It's not like you're bringing him in for the long term necessarily.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff with Atlanta. They have so many moving parts. They have a good young core. They have expiring contracts and picks. They could go a bunch of different directions. But they're one of the teams that, Detroit and Toronto weren't two of the teams I was looking at the most. But Atlanta was part of that group. I had Miami in that group, but I think Miami's going to go after Giannis the most.
Imagine a Trae Young, Anthony Davis pick and roll, and then an Anthony Davis, Dyson Daniels, like pick and roll defense.
Yeah.
Oof.
Imagine AD at the 5, which, with Jalen Johnson, Risha Shea, and Dyson Daniels together on the wing. Like,
dang. That's good. And Okongwu, he had like 7 threes in a game this year, didn't he?
Yeah. You have that. Yeah. Okongwu and AD together in the front court. Like, but once again, like, this is what we're talking about. Like, there's probably some East teams that are looking at it and saying, well, crap. Like, if you're the Hawks, you mean we could possibly get AD with our expiring contracts and throw in Asa Newell while keeping all of these other guys, and we could potentially get Anthony Davis? Like, that could put us above everybody in the East.
These 3 teams too don't get free agents like that, right?
Especially this third team.
Right. How else do they get guys like this? Is they make a trade, they make a risky trade, including the Raptors, who made a risky trade for Kawhi and it worked out really well. Maybe this is the next Kawhi trade that they decide to make. We'll talk about why the Raptors could be an option. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Game Time. Game Time. World Cup is back in North America for the first time since 1994, and with 48 teams playing for the first time ever. It's going to be massive, but let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why Game Time is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. You can snag them already with Game Time. They have all kinds of them already listed out for DFW. I was looking through them, and the prices are crazy. But on Game Time, you get an actual deal. So go check it out. Pull up the app. The layout is so simple. You scroll through matchups, compare seat views, pick a game, tap a section, and the tickets will be locked in within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for fine print or things like that. You know exactly what you're going to pay at checkout. That's awesome too. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets and every match, concert, event, or anything with Game Time. I've used it a lot to go see my Dallas Wings. I've used it to go see concerts, theater, things like that. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use this code, Locked On NBA, all one word, Locked On NBA, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, tap the download the app, make an account, use the code Locked On NBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go with Game Time.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Isaac, we're talking about the trade destinations for Anthony Davis, and we went through the Pistons, an interesting one. The Mavs could get basically check all the boxes off that they need in a trade. The Hawks, similar thing, that could get some of the things that they want in a deal. And then the Raptors were the last team that was mentioned in a trade. And this one is interesting. This one made the least sense to me, where I was like, I started to go through it and you just go, I couldn't make a trade work on the trade machine unless it was like Anthony Davis for 4 players, where I was just going through it. And
it almost has to be a third team with the Raptors.
I think so. I think it would have to be because, and then for them, I think it would have to be I think it would have to be both RJ Barrett and Jakob Poeltl, unless Emmanuel Quickly's in there. But I texted Sean Woodley about Emmanuel Quickly, and he goes, well, LOL, we'd have no guards then. I was like, well, that's the Mavericks' problem now with it.
But like, okay, so here's the angle of it too: is AD represented by Rich Paul and Clutch.
Yeah,
they're going to be involved in this. So
they already are.
Yeah, you don't want to say it's a no trade clause, but like, if they don't want to go somewhere, whether you like it or not, they could throw a fit and like, hey, I don't want to go there. So wouldn't the sell for Toronto would be to play with Jakob Poeltl because he likes playing the 4.
So then what do you do? So then you do RJ Barrett and Quickly, or
I think it has to be Quickly and RJ.
I think Ingram and Scotty Barnes are off the table.
Yeah, no, I do too. So I think it's Quickly and RJ which equals around like 60 million. So I think you got to bring that a third team in there, and try to get another guard or two young. You probably throw like D'Lo in that deal with AD.
Yeah,
give him another guard. But then, this is the least, I don't like this one because I just don't want to have long-term salary if possible.
If they bring back Poeltl, he's making 19 this year, 19 next year, then 27, 28, 27. When he'll be 34, he'll be making $27 million. And I'm like, ugh, I don't know.
I didn't understand his extension, but then Quickly makes 32 and then like 32.5, 32.5, 32.5. I mean,
year.
RJ's at 27.7 and then 29.6. So I guess RJ would be, he's still 25, Quickly's 26. It's just, you're still like get your cap, sheets full at that point. It's harder for Toronto. I think it's a harder sell too to AD's camp. And that would be a little tough. I could see AD's camp being way more open to Atlanta and Detroit than Toronto.
Yeah, that one it is an interesting one. Quickly is 26. You still think of him kind of as a young player. He's 8 years older than Cooper Flagg.
That's pretty wild.
That is a weird one. Also,
I haven't been the biggest Quickly guy, but
he played 33 games last year, 68 the year before that, and has played pretty much every game this year. But that's another one to watch. He just missed a ton of time. Felt like last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Raptors are one made the least sense to me. If you had to pick, would it be here? Let's do this. Would you pick these 3 teams or the field for an Anthony Davis trade?
I mean, there's nobody you trust more in the business than Shams. So yeah, it feels weird going against like the field. I still, pretty confident that Chicago will be in that mix, especially with their recent slide and everything. That's the only one that's given me a little slight pause. But if Shams is throwing those 3 teams out there like he did, he knows some like pretty good that those 3 are pretty interested in him.
Talked about it.
I'd almost just lean with him.
I would also say we don't know how this front office operates because Nico is gone. This is now the Finley Riccardi. Do we? Is it a hyphenated thing or is it like a law firm where it's the law firm of the front office of Finley Riccardi? Can
you give the report that what Shams said about the GM?
Yeah, this was interesting to me. Dumont has relied on Finley, Riccardi, Coach Jason Kidd, and minority owner Mark Cuban in his front office core, and has given Finley and Riccardi the power to lead conversations on the franchise's future. A GM search is still expected in the offseason, and Finley and Riccardi are expected to be candidates, sources said. And I talked about this on the bonus episode about how I think, man, I don't know if you can just go through the season with these 2 guys who could potentially be vying for this job, basically auditioning, making this massive decision for the Mavericks at this crossroads that they're at. Hey,
that was me, by the way. Just want to point that out to people who don't know that.
Dueling soundboards over here.
Here's the thing with this situation is all the smoke out there is that they're going to trade Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
You have the interim GMs, and then you have this report that they're going to wait until the offseason basically to figure out who this next GM is.
Right.
So on paper or first glance, I think you're looking at it and you're like, what? I think a lot of people are looking at it and saying, you mean you're going to let 2 interim GMs make this monumental trade in AD and possibly some other deals with the roster?
Unless
you've already decided that Jason Kidd is the GM and Jason Kidd's calling the shots.
Whoa.
I'm not playing. I'm watching, just like you guys.
That's the thing. It's like, I think that this is my conspiracy theory with it.
Yeah.
Riccardi and Finley's there right now. They're the air quote interim GMs. They're at the table. You got the table there that is making, these decisions. The council,
even the table hurts my brain. Like
with Cuban Kidd, those 2 guys and Dumont. I feel like, I mean, we've talked about it. I mean, gosh, we even posted like a reel of me ranting about, well, not ranting about like, hey, don't be surprised that Jason Kidd's the GM for this team. It feels weird for them to give the power to make these monumental moves for the team to some guys who might not be here moving forward. Therefore, I feel like somebody in the room has the strong leg up of being that next guy. If they're going to go through with these trades, I think it'd be one thing if it was like, hey, they're just going to kind of stand pat right now and just let this offseason happen. And whoever wins that GM job is going to try to clean house or, reset everything. But it feels like they're trying to do that now. And I could be wrong, but it feels like they wouldn't do that to make all these decisions now and that's where I think it comes in at. I think there's probably something on the table. This is just purely speculation. I think there's something on the table to where Jason Kidd's the next GM and he's helping steer this thing. And if he's signing off on an Anthony Davis trade, then yeah.
I'm not playing.
He's not playing around. That could be.
And I don't even know if it has to be. If it has to be,
would that
like,
be better? Would that be better than the original thing you said, where it's like they're giving two guys that are the interims the power to make these decisions? Would that be a better choice for them?
That's just weird to me.
Well, that's what it is right now. And you're like, okay, they're talking about making all these big decisions and what you said. So I actually hope that that's the scenario where they have the guy that they think, and it's Jason Kidd. He's like, let me just play out the rest of this year as coach and then move to the front office after this.
Yeah. Or it's something like
I hire Cuban.
I think Kidd would be that thing. And then we would have a coaching search this offseason. Because, just go with me in my conspiracy theory for a second. Let's say they decided on it. Or let's just say Dumont's decided on it. That, hey, I'm going to make Kidd the GM, which in the past, we know that there was that plan for Kidd to end up in a front office, Nico have a different front office role. Like, they wanted to, that's been reported on in the past. Yeah. So it's much harder to do a coaching search mid-season. So is there some type of conspiracy stuff?
Frank Vogel on the bench right now.
I know, but wouldn't it make sense though if there was something like, hey, if they wanted Kidd to be the GM and it's like, hey, let's kind of wait for the summer. Well,
I was saying, wouldn't also moving Kidd to the front office, wouldn't that also signal like, hey, we're not going for it, we're resetting everything, and then that signals to other teams, hey, we're desperate to get rid of all these guys, like these players, and so I think they're just kind of holding, like in a holding pattern, especially with the report like the Mavs still don't know if they're going to give Anthony Davis this extension. To me, signals like, all right, we got to tell everybody that we're just that we're hanging here, and So
my theory is whether they all know it or not, that I'm saying, like, is it just like Dumont thing? We're just having fun with it, all right? And once again, none of this is reporting.
Let us wildly speculate.
It's purely speculation. That, hey, Kidd's at this table where they're making the decisions, and Kidd is involved in what these next roster moves will be, because Kidd's going to be the next GM, and they'll figure out the coaching stuff later on. Now, another thing that would make sense to me is, let's just say Kidd stays the coach, and then this offseason, like, Riccardi becomes the GM and Finley's like his right-hand man or something. Like, they have something like that situated. Then that would make sense to me too, of like, oh, okay, well, they made those big trades. They did all that. Like, you're empowering those guys. You're going to ride this out because they made the trades, and you're going to go for it like that. Like,
and Riccardi was really doing the audition.
Yeah. What doesn't make sense to me is, hey, we're going to let these two guys trade Anthony Davis, which could determine a lot about your immediate future moving forward.
Bring in Dennis Lindsey or bring in somebody else.
And then bring in some rando, from somewhere else. And it's just like, hey, here you go. Even though we made all these big decisions for you, 6 months ago, or however, that's where it feels like it's somebody already in house. And it feels like, for me, I think it would be Jason Kidd, and we're looking at a different head coach at the beginning of next season.
Can I wildly speculate again? We can't both play it.
That was the first time ever we double hit.
Turned on Amazon Prime today. Pre-game show, halftime show, post-game show.
Wait,
No Dirk Nowitzki again. Dirk was in Dallas for the Mavs last game with his son in a Cooper Flagg jersey, back in tow.
his son's the GM.
Max Nowitzki is the GM of the Dallas Mavericks. Honestly, would he be better than what we've had?
He wouldn't have traded Luka.
I don't think that would. Yeah, I think that would not have happened either. Check the links in the description for different ways to follow the show. We got the Everydayers Club, the text line, both things give you access to our Discord as well as ad-free shows for the Everydayers. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. We'll be back with more episodes tomorrow breaking down this news. And thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.